That's the website I just visited in plain text on my screen, from a tool anyone can download for free. Even if I am using encrypted DNS and HTTPS, it's still leaking. So let's talk about why. If you've spent any time on this channel, you know I'm not the guy who tells you to delete your accounts and move to the woods. I'm the guy who tells you what's actually happening and you decide if you care. Here's what's actually happening. You probably think that if your DNS is encrypted, your ISP can't see the websites you visit anymore. That's the whole point, right? Encrypted DNS, problem solved. It's not solved, and I'll show you why in about 30 seconds. Imagine you're sending a letter to the postal service. You write the letter, and obviously you've sealed the envelope. The mail carrier can't read what's inside the envelope. That's encryption. Good. But the envelope still has an address on the front, right? Has to. Otherwise the mail doesn't go anywhere. So the postal service can read every address you've ever sent mail to. Doesn't matter how strong your envelope is. The address is on the outside by design. Even if you handed the envelope address down to the mailman and he just throws the letter in a big pile without looking, the address is still not safe. Further down the line, the address is still visible, still written on the envelope. That's your internet traffic. Encrypted DNS hides one part of the process. Basically the part where you ask, where does this address go? But the actual letter you send afterward, it still has the address printed on the outside. Your ISP is the postal service. They're reading every envelope, every site you visit in plain text right now. So what was the point of encrypted DNS? Did I just waste my time setting that up for nothing? No. Encrypted DNS does protect something. It just doesn't protect what most people assume it protects. Let me show you what it actually does, then I'll show you the thing that would fix this. Because there is a fix, it's just not what's being sold. Quick technical part, I'll keep it short. When your browser connects to a website, three things happen in sequence. 1. Your browser asks, what's the IP address for TechieShow.com? That's a DNS query. That is what encrypted DNS protects. Without DOH, your ISP sees you ask this question. With DOH, they don't. 2. Your browser opens a connection to that IP address. Your ISP sees the IP, but an IP address by itself doesn't always tell them which site you visited. A single server can host hundreds of websites. 3. Your browser starts a TLS handshake. That's the encryption setup. And as part of that handshake, it has to tell the server which one of those hundreds of websites it's actually trying to reach, so the server knows which certificate to send back. That field is called SNI, Server Name Indication, and it's sent in plain text. Your ISP reads it, logs it, done. Doesn't matter that everything after that handshake is encrypted. The domain is already on the record. That's the field right there. That's every site you've ever visited. There is a real fix for this. It's called Encrypted Client Hello, ECH. It encrypts that field too. I'll show you how it works, whether it's actually working for you right now, and the part that nobody tells you, which is that even with ECH, most of the web still leaks. But before that, I want to address the comment. I know it's already being typed in the comment section. The one that says,
just use a VPN, problem solved.
A VPN doesn't solve this, a VPN moves it. When you use a VPN, your ISP can't see your traffic. True, but the VPN provider sees everything your ISP would have seen. You haven't made yourself private, you've changed who's watching. That's a real trade-off. Sometimes it's the right trade-off. If you don't trust your ISP and you do trust your VPN provider, you've made progress. But most VPN companies have a financial incentive to log. The no logs claim is a marketing claim. Some are honest, some aren't. You can't tell from a YouTube ad. I'm not saying don't use a VPN, I'm saying know what it actually does. It hides you from one watcher and exposes you to another. That's the deal. Okay, encrypted client hello. ECH puts that domain field inside the encrypted part of the handshake. Your ISP sees you connect to somewhere, but not which specific site. Sounds great, there's a catch. ECH only works if 4 things line up at the same time. Your browser has to support it. Firefox does by default, Chrome partially, Safari mostly doesn't. The website you're visiting has to support it. Your DNS resolver has to support it. DOH on a model resolver like Cloudflare works. And actually succeed which it sometimes silently doesn't. When all four line up, your ISP sees you connecting to Cloudflare and that's it. They don't know which Cloudflare hosted site. And because Cloudflare hosts roughly 20% of the web, you visited Cloudflare tells them basically nothing. That's genuinely good privacy. When all four don't line up, which is most of the web in 2026, you're back to plain text SNI. The domain leaks, your ISP logs it. So the honest answer is ECH is real, it works, and it covers a meaningful slice of your browsing. It does not cover all of it. Anyone telling you otherwise is selling something. Here's where I'm going to disappoint anyone hoping for a clean ending. There is no setting you can flip that makes you fully private from your ISP without trade-offs. DOH plus ECH on a Firefox-shaped browser visiting Cloudflare front-end sites gets you most of the way there. A trustworthy VPN moves the watcher rather than removing them. Tor removes most watchers but breaks half the web and can get slow. What I do personally, DOH on my router, Firefox with ECH on, and a separate browser plus a VPN for the specific things I don't want my ISP correlating with my account. That's it. Not because it's perfect, because it's what I'm willing to actually maintain. You pick what you're willing to maintain. That's the whole game. Because if you can't or won't use the setup you are making more than 3 days because it's too much of a hassle, well, that's not really privacy now, is it? If this changed how you think about your setup, even one part of it, stick around, subscribe, more videos are coming up. The kind that try to balance privacy, convenience, and sanity, and at least expose when I'm heading towards the woods. See you in the next one.